In this video, we're going to talk all about the Scrum Master's role. Now, the Scrum Master's ultimate accountability is for the Scrum team's effectiveness, okay? Trying to make every member of the Scrum team more effective in how they lead their day-to-day job, okay? They do this by helping everyone on the team understand Scrum and Agile theory and the practices. That means the principles, the nuts and bolts of the details, and how to put it into practice. They help them with both of those things non-stop, okay? Now, Scrum Masters are true servant leaders in the deepest meaning of that, okay? They are focused non-stop on other people's development. That's all they do, all right? Now, I don't have an Apple person. I got a Disney person for this example. I've got Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio, weirdly enough. Now, the reason why Jiminy Cricket is an ideal servant leader and a Scrum Master is because he is looking out for Pinocchio at all times. And it doesn't matter what little Pinocchio does, gets involved with the wrong crowds and does all these things and makes the wrong decision. Jiminy Cricket never judges. He always empathizes, and he's always there to give them guidance and support and push in a positive direction. Now, the other thing about Jiminy is that he's a little baby cricket, all right? And he can't have a lot of authority, right? So Scrum Masters have zero formal authority, so they have to make an influence through just asking questions, guiding, facilitating, teaching, coaching, all those things, much like Jiminy Cricket. And Jiminy Cricket, in a sense, is the conscience of the character of Pinocchio. And what a Scrum Master is trying to do is to build the essence of Scrum and Agile into the project and into the people and have them take it over and rise up like the real boys that they are, in a sense, to go and run a great project. So there's a lot of corollaries. Now, if you want another one, and I think Disney owns this franchise too now, it's Yoda, okay? So what does Yoda do? Now, Yoda can fight. He can do all those things. I've seen some of the movies, but he asks a lot of questions, right? He does a lot of listening. He does a lot of watching, and he can't get, tricked by anybody, really. He's seen it all. And so he's going to ask questions. He's going to put people at a place where they're perplexed a little bit, and he's going to help them grow because he really cares about them, and he wants them to grow. So when I think Scrum Master and I think servant leader, I think Jiminy Cricket and I think Yoda, and I think you should too. Now, Scrum Masters have no direct power like we talked about. They're there to support the team and guide the team, and they are not cracking whips and telling people and having people answer to them. They are not assigning work. They are not doing those things. They are there helping people, okay? They drive change through enabling, not forcing. People do not go to them and say, "Sir or ma'am, Mr. Scrum Master, what do I do next?" No, they do not provide that distinct, ABC expectations of what they do in their job. That's the team to do that, okay? But they're going to help everybody. Now, Scrum Masters are skilled observers. They're watching. They're seeing how people interact, how they do their job, how they do these things. They're taking it all in. They're great facilitators because they're trying to get people to work together, to be more cross-functional, to be more engaged, to communicate at a deeper level, all those things. And they're great coaches trying to build people up to make them better. Now, Scrum Masters use a lot of Socratic questioning. They ask questions to make people think, to bring it out of them. That's a really, really great way to do. You don't give people the answer. You bring it out of them through questions. And they do this to politely kind of highlight areas of need, nudge them in the right direction, if you will, and guide them on a fortuitous path toward great Scrum practices, okay? Now, Scrum leaders help everyone in the project world, okay? Now, they're going to help, obviously, the developers. We talked about that. Understand how they're doing their work, how they're communicating, their practices, all those things. And they also help the product owner. And lastly, they help the organization that they work in. They soften the organization up. They work the organization up to a place where they can understand agility and start to practice at it and start leading the organization through the curve of agility. That's what they're trying to do. So as we go to each one of those people, the Scrum Master serves the developers or the team in a way of coaching them in self-management and cross-functionality. So they're going to coach them in that respect. They're going to help the team focus on creating high value increments that meet the definition of done. So that's all about quality and getting the work to the finished state, okay? Now, they're going to also help the team causing removing impediments. So they're going to help them go, boom, let's get these impediments out of your way so that you can be effective. Now, impediments, another word for that is blockers or things that are holding us back or have us stuck. So the Scrum Master will get down there with the developers and say, how can I help you? How can I help you move this out of the way if they see it that it's a real impediment, okay? And they also ensure that all the Scrum events, and we're going to go deep into all the Scrum events, take place because everybody wants to skip. Oh, we're going to skip the daily Scrum today. Oh, we're not going to do a review. Oh, we're not going to do sprint planning this week, whatever. They want to skip all the time. So the Scrum Master says, we're holding the events at the time that we said we were, and we are going to keep them positive, productive, and within the time box, meaning the amount of time it should take for the event, not going long. So the Scrum Master is kind of helping facilitate the events of the Scrum, framework, if you will, okay? Now, the Scrum Master also serves the product owner we talked about and helping them find techniques for effective product goal definition, like how they better define the goal. These are things that the product owner has to be built into. And the Scrum Master has likely seen this a lot of times so they can help them get better at it and help them with product backlog management, which is the primary goal and purpose of the product owner, right? And so they help the Scrum teams for the product owner understand the need for clear and concise product backlog items that are on the backlog, right? And they help establish an empirical planning process for complex environments. That means using facts, using data to have a great planning approach to lay out for the sprints and later things in the project, right? And they're also going to help the product owner by facilitating stakeholder collaboration if they're requested and when it's needed. All right. We have to talk to a lot of individuals, bringing them in. Hey, if this person needs to talk to this product owner, I'll get you right to them. Let's go talk to it and work through it. That's a great Scrum Master job right there. Now, the last is the Scrum Master serve the organization. Okay. So how do they do this? They help lead, train, and coach the organization in Scrum adoption because these things take time. Can't assume that everybody takes to things and understands them. The Scrum Master is going to spend that time and build them up in that respect. They're going to help planning and advising Scrum implementation from a bigger level within the organization because these things evolve as they go through an organization. And they help employees and stakeholders go back to that empirical approach for complex problem solving, okay? So how do we use data? How do we use facts? How do we react in the positive way? All those things, empiricism, is what we're trying to drive through in the entire Scrum methodology. And lastly, they're going to help remove barriers between the stakeholders and the Scrum teams, right? Any of those barriers that they see by watching and listening and observing, they're going to help remove those things, just create clarity, create connections between the team and the stakeholders. That's what they're trying to do, okay? Now, when you think of a Scrum Master coming out of this, and I bet you didn't think of this beforehand, I want you to think of Jiminy, and I want you to think of Yoda. And I want you to think of them developing their stars of their movie, just like the Scrum Master is developing the stars, the product owner and the developer of their Scrum team to go forth and be prosperous and to do great work together. So the effectiveness of the team is the ultimate goal of the Scrum Master. Now, as we move forward, let's go jump into the Scrum events, and we're going to understand those.